and where we go from here and what kind of challenges we face. But I got to ask you, Griff, how do you think, how can Scalar or anything like that actually close or seal that well off? How do you think that would work?
I've thought for some time that out of 7,000 platforms in the Gulf, there's almost 7,000 pumps down there going. They picked the right one out of 7,000, the best target out of 7,000 platforms. If they had hit that ground with a scalar effect, then that would cause an earthquake. Now, in some of the early reports, there were mentions of earthquakes at the floor, and it was recorded on instruments, and they disappeared off the platform, and the black box disappeared, the records disappeared. That would be enough to start it. That would be enough to cause a blowout.
Okay.
And they blew it out, and they blew some of the internal piping that damaged it inside. And that's what caused the fire on the platform. It was not gasoline. They had diesel fuel on there. The diesel fuel doesn't explode like that explosion. And the water was burning. That's methane. That's a blowout. That's what caused that.
Yeah, you can actually take anybody that's not familiar with diesel fuel, you can actually take a lit cigarette and throw it into diesel fuel, and it won't burn. I mean, so you really have to have something of a high temperature to do that. But let's take a look at, you have this incident right here that transpired. Let's take a look at what just happened not too long ago, maybe a year ago or so in Haiti. Haiti exhibited very same characteristics as far as a scalar type earthquake. If you notice, nobody in the Dominican Republic ever talked about damage or even feeling it. And scalar weapons can be very focused. And that's the thing that kind of validated that for me and maybe gave me the idea that was what was being employed here, was the fact that much like Haiti, where you had Port-au-Prince devastated, but if you take a look outside of Port-au-Prince, the devastation's very localized. It's very localized.
That's what I noticed.
And here, if they localize that damage, then very few people know about it. And like you said, Griff, the black box is missing. We heard of scuffles going on before this all transpired, of SWAT teams going out and doing their thing. I mean, there's a lot of things that went on prior to this that led up to this crescendo, which was the oil platform catching fire. And, I'm kind of interested as far as, where do you think we go from here?
Well, first, let me comment about Obama being on a video on the Internet. I watched him say that he was sending SWAT teams from the Department of the Interior out to the platforms. So it's no question about him saying that. I watched him do it. Then, a short time after that played on the Internet, a former high-ranking person, I don't remember his name, from the Interior Department, said, "I didn't know that we had SWAT teams in the Department of the Interior." And he was in charge. So it is a curious thing. There are a lot of curious things. You can speculate. My life experiences tells me that platform was taken down, and it was selected. It was the ideal one to wreak havoc on the Gulf and the United States and the economy. It just doesn't stop. It touches all bases. It'll eventually bring the economy of all of the states down. It'll evacuate millions and millions of people. They'll lose their job. The industry is gone. The fish are gone. The nutrition is gone. The oxygen is gone in the oceans. It'll touch oceans in Europe eventually. You'll have millions of people pretty much doomed with no income, no food, no money, no prospects, no shelter. And what are they going to do? And there is no answer. There is no answer to that. And the evacuation should start before too long. I see you did an interview the other day with Greg Everson, S-E-N. I had a interview with him and some others last night, I think it was, or the night before last. He is a prince of a fella. I really do like him. And he's reporting from his contacts in the Gulf area that the plans for evacuation of that whole area are in the hands of the military and the police down there. His contacts are telling him all about it. So it's going to happen. It's going to be devastating. A lot of people are going to die over this, I'm afraid. The cities are going to die, and the water plants are going to die. The petroleum processing plants are going to shut down. The offloading of petroleum in the Gulf is going to shut. It's like dominoes going over. Everything that we're depending on to sustain our way of life is going to either stop or slow down, one or the other.
Why do you think they've given BP such huge reign over saying that nobody can go near the rig and nobody can film or take any pictures? Now they've got a no-fly zone over it.
Well, I think those regulations have been in place for a long time to protect the resources. I don't think that all of that is brand new. They tried to keep people away from the pipelines and all of that for some time. There may be some new twists and new regs because of the crisis. Maybe they're responsible for some of the legality there if people get hurt or something happens. I don't know that I see.
Too.
They're
not allowing the media to give current events on what's going on. They've got the media blackout, and they've bought certain search words on the internet that now, when you put in oil spill, it directs you to BP's business page.
Well, I think they're protecting their business.
Well, sure,
that's the way they work. You know?
Yeah, no, that's the way these corporate elites work for sure, and it's very easy to manipulate. It's very easy to manipulate a numb or dumbed down public, I guess you could say. So here's my thing. You know, we've seen how direct energy weapons or HARP can actually steer things in the way Katrina moved that hurricane right down the pipe, right into New Orleans, and we also saw the after effects of it, of people who didn't leave, who didn't evacuate, and what those evacuees, when they eventually did go out, actually due to the surrounding communities. My big thing is that small localized event wreaked havoc on communities as far as from an economic standpoint. There were no place to put these people. And even today, the effects are still being felt from Hurricane Katrina. So could you imagine, Griff, what would happen when the entire Gulf region is evacuated? You're talking, that's on a scale that's never really been faced before. We haven't seen that.
That's right. I've done a lot of interviews on radio and internet and satellite and so forth. And each one I've made it a point to speak frankly. I'm too old not to. And I was born before the Second World War. That's how old I am. I'm older than dirt. And I look at my country and my people and my place in life and my responsibilities different than most people because of the age and the experiences. I have no problem in the world looking at the administration and calling them criminals. I think Obama and the White House, the executive branch, and the Congress are fascist. And people say, well, what is a fascist? And I direct them to Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini. They were fascists. They're not communists. They're not socialists. They're not interested in the welfare of the people. Obama's out playing golf, you know, and
honestly,
and in his declaration the other day for Father's Day, a proclamation he put out, I just read the actual document, and he's praising fathers, two fathers and a family looking after the child in a proclamation from my president. Well, that just runs contrary to everything that I believe in, you know. I was in the military. You know, there have been hundreds of thousands of men dying for this country, you know. Their perception was that they were fighting to save the country.